Hey guys, welcome back to Good News York, live at the great Syracuse Winter Fair here in the Expo Center at the State Fairgrounds. I love it. I love a fair in the winter.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it really is a brilliant idea. We're all just sitting here complaining about how cold it is and why are we stuck in New York? But you forget about all that inside this massive 100,000 square foot shed. We got our buddy Mark O'Donnell back. Which you guys might remember if you follow along this show. You know, we launched this show the first time ever at Winter Fair last year, exactly 1 year ago.
Right.
And Mark was one of our very first guests.
Absolutely.
On top of course, being the host of the Operations Excellence podcast that many of you over the past year, I'm sure, have followed or checked out or seen the clips from. Mark's talking to all kinds of incredible business leaders. He's talking about leadership. He's talking about entrepreneurial ideas, all kinds of crazy stuff. But welcome back to the show. Welcome back for the anniversary show, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Michael.
You are welcome.
I really appreciate it. And yeah, I was walking in this morning and it kind of hits you in the face and all your senses. It's like, wow, this is like an indoor state fair.
Yeah.
Right? The smell, the sounds. And I'm remembering, and we were reminiscing a little bit earlier this morning when I got here about last year, 1 year ago today, pretty much at this time,
Yep.
around this time. Here we were, and we're back. And yeah, thank you for the invite. It's been a cool year. It really has. You know, we recorded this month's session just earlier this week, and you're in the process of a big move, which I'm so happy for you. Right, you guys doing great things. But one of the greatest compliments I think I've had, we had Joanne Yarrow back on, and she was one of my first guests, I think in month 2. And she said during the conversation, she goes, you know, I've been watching your podcast, and not that you weren't good at the beginning, but like, wow, you're so much better now.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. Like, that tells me I'm learning something and something is going right.
You were one of our but you were one of the first clients where we didn't have to help you along, train you. You have a very natural ability on camera and on mic. So,
Well, that's, you know, that progression is very normal. And a lot of people will go right out and tell you your first ones are going to be horrible.
Right.
And I don't know that anybody's really more horrible, but no matter what, you're always going to see that progression. And
look at the difference between, you know, when you and I started. Even we've grown.
100%.
Which, by the way, feels good. It's been a while since you and I have been on together.
I know.
This feels good.
We've been so busy, Mike and I have been.
I watch you guys individually too,
Oscillating.
and you have some incredible guests and have done some incredible stuff.
Mike gets the shitty ones.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
So is Mike, but I also love Mike's take on sports, and Mike and I are both sports junkies.
Yeah, man.
And so every time we're connecting, like the initial conversation, like it was today, was about, you know, our NFL teams, or whatever's going on in the sports news.
You know, on that note, as we move into the new place and we're building our new studios in downtown Syracuse,
right.
Mike's going to have a dedicated GNY sports set.
Yeah.
He'll be able to do that.
I'm so pumped.
You got to have me on. I want to come talk sports with you, because we have a ball.
Yeah, of course.
We could talk about everything.
Well, we were doing that before Matt even decided he wanted to go forward with Good News York Sports.
Mike's on, you know?
You know,
exactly.
you would think about it. You'd come in to record your show, and you and I are sitting there shooting the shit about golf for a half hour, and Danny's
Usually
like,
20, 30 minutes. He's like, yeah, can we get going? Danny's like, come on, guys. I got I got to be somewhere.
I got stuff to do.
But it's been great, Mark, and it's been great to have you on board from the beginning. I think you might have been our first sign-up, actually, in our marketing business, which has been awesome. And
I love that story, because you didn't have to sell me.
Yeah.
Of course, you and I mean, God, we've known each other close to 4 years now?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And I feel like, I hope you feel the same way, that kind of almost immediately we really had a connection.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
in a similar way of approaching a lot of things.
Right.
But you came to me back, 15-ish months ago now? And I don't think you finished the whole thought. Like, you literally were like, hey, I got this idea. And you start talking about, you know, I want to do a podcast. I want to set up a professional studio. I'm going to hire a professional producer and somebody to do the social media side. And I'm like, well, how are you going to afford that?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'm going to offer those services to my business friends. And before you even went further, I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. Where do I sign up?
That checks out, because that's exactly how he explained it to me when we had started, he goes, well, we have one client that signed on before I even finished the sentence. And I was like, well, I love this guy already.
But Matt had been letting me use space at Growth Mode to record some of my own spots, and then it transgressed into using some of his equipment.
Oh, no, I didn't know that part.
Oh, yeah. And they were still, amateur hour, big time. But, I was getting some stuff out there. And, then we started talking, and he, the more the conversations had gone on, he was telling me about, he's like, I've done podcasting. And he was doing podcasting before it was cool.
Yeah.
Right? And
he was.
So he really was an early adopter. So all the pieces just kind of fit together. And I'm so glad that you thought of me and that you approached me.
Yeah.
It's been very cool. It's been a new experience for me. But obviously, I love it, and we've had some, great, I think, some really great guests on.
Absolutely.
A couple months ago, we did a panel that you were part of.
Yep.
I've gotten, I look at just the volume of hits. That panel got a tremendous amount of hits.
Yeah.
Well, and you figure there's 5
discussion.
really intelligent individuals from different fields that are bringing their own following with them, right? So there's kind of this multiplier effect. So.
Yeah.
But you guys touched on something else, and the fact when we talked about getting better over time, right? And when you're talking about development, which is a large part of what I do, whether it's leadership or team building or what have you, nobody leaves their house not wanting to become the best version of themselves that day, right? Everybody wants to get better. And just take leadership, for example. Like, there's no arriving. There's no, oh, here's your diploma.
Right.
Now you're the best leader you're ever going to be. You're never going to be better than this.
Right.
I wish I knew 20, 30 years ago what I know today. But some of that was only going to happen through experience.
Yeah.
So it's just this natural leadership. People, it's a journey, I guess, is the message,
Yeah.
You and I were chatting, right, about your entrepreneurial journey. I mean, you've been an entrepreneur most of your adult life.
Yeah.
And it's been cool to watch your level of success just in the past 12 months, but that's not overnight.
Yeah.
Like, every bit of win and loss that you've had over all those years has gone into who you are and the opportunities that you are experiencing now. True? Right?
Absolutely.
So a lot of what we talk about too in leadership development is if you're driving continually to improve, by definition you will fail more often than you succeed, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're going to be trying new things. You're in uncharted territory. And so when you try new things, if you really are pushing yourself, you're going to fail.
Absolutely.
That's okay. That is literally part of the process.
Yeah.
And if you can't accept that, you won't succeed.
Yeah, I learned that. I learned that a while ago, that, you hear that all the time, that you're going to fail, you got to get back up. But it is so true, and Matt, I'm sure you can attest, and Mark, the things I've learned the most in life came from when I failed. You still learn when you succeed and when you win.
Yep.
But you really, really learn when you fail.
There's a great line I learned a few years back now that goes like this, that we literally move at the speed of pain. Right?
Oh.
That pain is truly the best motivator sometimes, right? And we learn at the speed of pain.
Yeah.
Right? And I think there's a lot of truth, and that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
The greatest lessons in my life were the ones where I got smacked upside the head.
Yeah.
Mark, we should talk about, we've been talking about your podcast, we've been talking a little bit about what you do to some degree.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this event you got coming up, because this is something that's kind of exciting that's happening in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we had Joanne Yarrow on a few times. She and her husband, Brad Beckman, were guests of mine back episode 2 or something, and then Joanne was this past month, which that'll be coming out soon. So Joanne and Brad own distinctive voices, right? Joanne is also an executive at Syracuse Stage, and she's been in the performing arts world for many years. Her husband, Brad Beckman, teaches at Syracuse University in I believe in the drama department, and he's a writer.
Wow.
And he's a very talented man. So Joanne approached me 2-3 months ago, and I've worked with the two of them, helped them build a strategic plan, and I've done some other work with them, helping them learn how to monetize, right, their abilities better,
Sure.
right, and really build a business around it. So she came to me and said, hey, this is her talking. She goes, I do work with executives, helping them learn how to project and better utilize their voice, how to practice presence in a room, right, and kind of own the room, right? Because these are all concepts from the performing arts world, right? And you do performing arts.
My whole life.
So
I've
you
been on
understand
stage.
these concepts, right? And then the other big one that they touched on was storytelling.
Yeah.
Well, you think of those three things, and as a leader in any organization, you probably need to be pretty good at those. And if you are good at those, it's going to help you better lead.
Right.
So she said, what if we did a workshop where we combine some of this stuff that they do in the performing arts world with what I do in the more classical leadership development, right? So things like goal setting, goal alignment, how to build a really highly successful culture that values people, and that's something that you and I have done workshops on. And also the power of emotional intelligence and how that brings all of that together. And tied with that, we're going to do a piece on communications, which I love the adage in communications that you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Do you think maybe you better learn how to listen a little better?
Sure.
Right, because people hear communications and what do they think? Right, they think, oh, that person's a great speaker.
Yeah.
They command, those are important, but if you can't listen well and really listen, you're not going to connect with people. So we're going to combine all that. The workshop is going to be held on Tuesday, February 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at TDO's offices on Electronics Parkway right here in Syracuse. And the name of the workshop is Executive Presence in Creating an Impactful Culture. And it's going to be co-produced by Joanne Yarrow and myself. The cost is $535 per person. There's some great takeaways. You literally are going to walk away with some materials that you'll be able to begin implementing what you learn in that workshop as soon as you walk away.
That's incredible.
And it's very interactive. We want people to get up and move, get the blood flowing, getting people engaged. Very hands-on. So it's not going to be people sitting in a room being lectured to.
You know what, Mark? There's different things that you can do, different programs that give you a lot of aspects of things. Like some of that reminds me of a lot of what you get from like the Dale Carnegie trainings.
Sure.
Those are thousands of dollars.
Yep.
And you are providing some of those skills in addition to all those other pieces that put it together to make this full workshop. There's an incredible value in one workshop is the point I'm trying to get to here.
Yep.
Really well thought out.
We think so.
You and Joanne's skills and presentations. It's pretty awesome.
We think so because, it's also a way to hopefully better introduce Joanne and myself to another broader piece of the audience out there in Central New York, because we both feel like we have this mission. And the mission is to help people become the best version of themselves. Right? Now, do I make a living doing that? Yeah. But literally, it's a part of my life's purpose to help other people become that best version of themselves.
You know what? That's one thing I noticed about you as soon as I met you, is you go on LinkedIn and all you'll hear is leadership conference that, leadership conference this, and people do that, as you said, as a career, but you really embody that even when you're not doing that. Even when I'm speaking to you in a normal conversation, you always have words of wisdom, and it's passion for you. It's not something you do to collect a paycheck. You believe in it and you live it,
100%. It goes back to when I was starting the business, and I've shared this story with you, I think. And being a good engineer at heart, right, I did my homework, right? So I started calling people I knew personally who had made the transition from corporate world to consulting. And the question was, how did you do that? What worked? What should I do? Do you have any tips? And when you ask people those kind of questions, most people love to help, right? And so I got some great input. Some of the best things I heard, one of them was this: figure out what you love to do, your passion. Focus on that, and you'll not only be successful, but you'll be really happy doing it.
Yeah.
And so I did that. I did some real deep dive introspection, and I figured out two primary things. The engineer in me is always going to love solving problems. I love a challenge, right? To a fault, right? Check that box. And the more I thought about it, when I've really been happiest working in corporate life is when I had the opportunity to mentor and coach other people. Well, you put those two things together, and that's what I do. And literally, one of the things we do in pretty much every development program is coach each individual to draft a life purpose statement. And it really is, okay, picture yourself at 80, 85 years old, you're sitting on your porch and you're looking back at your life. What do you want it to have been all about? There's Steve Becker, man, myth, and legend, right? So, and I did that, and coming to find out what I want my life purpose to be is really about helping other people become the best version of themselves. Hello, Mr. Becker, also known as Stereo Steve.
That's it.
That's right.
So yeah, you're right. It is a passion. It's interesting because one of my guests, Adam Feck, who you've met, great guy. Adam's just a wonderful, wonderful man. But we both have the same concept where talking with prospective clients and just people, business people, even friends, like I don't have any problem with prospective clients giving ideas away. Like literally, this is a secret sauce, here's how you do it. Because the truth is, most people probably aren't going to be able to make it operational without some real deep dive help. But oh, by the way, if they do, that's still a win for me.
Yeah.
Because guess what? They're gonna get better at X, whatever X is. And then somebody they know is going to ask them, hey, you're really better at that. How'd that happen?
Right.
Hey, you know what? This dude told me about this, and let me tell you about him.
That's a strategy that we try to employ a lot in the content world. And a lot of people, it's counter to what people may have been told for all these years.
Yeah, you got to get paid. You got to get paid.
Yeah, like, you take a mechanic, for instance.
Right.
And real high-performing type of video is, here's how to do your brakes so you don't have to hire me.
Right.
And they go through the job, and you might go, okay, that solves it, and I'm going to do it myself, because you're probably somebody who was going to do it yourself anyway.
Right.
The other side of that is you get a considerable number of people going, oh wow, that's a hell of a project, I don't want to get into that. I'll bring it to the professional.
Right.
And by demonstrating that you are the professional and you know how to do it,
right,
it's one of the best advertisements ever.
Right.
And that whole, listen, I'll tell you the answer, give me the $5 first. That's not the approach these days.
Well, you 100% agree with you. And this is interesting because I was talking with, in the past couple of weeks, a client, and a similar conversation with a prospective client about this very topic. And the conversations, I'm going to totally paraphrase, but it's kind of like this. Like, let's talk about sales, and I'm going to tell you what I believe is the sales process, and it's not going to sound anything like what you probably learned. And the sales process I use really is about exactly what you're talking about. It's like, let's talk about you. Like my first intro is, hey, how's business? How's things going? What's working? What's not? And just start, because guess what? People love to talk about themselves, and if you're really good at listening and they know you're listening, they love telling, right? So I really want to find out is, hey, is everything great? Super. Or are there things that aren't going well, right? What keeps you awake at night? What are your struggles? At the end of the conversation, if I can have them walk away with some tidbits that may help them, I'm happy. Because very likely they're going to realize, A, this guy knows what he's talking about, this guy has value, and oh, by the way, he's a problem solver.
Yeah.
Right? I want to be seen as somebody that can help them solve their problems. Right? Whether it's getting paid for it or not. Because ultimately, they're very likely going to engage me if they see me as somebody that is a problem solver. In one way or another, right?
100%.
Which is really not, I mean, it kind of is, if, we could talk a lot about the sales process, but the truth is, I did everything except direct selling and marketing in the business world, pretty much, before I started my own business. So of course, now how do I spend a chunk of money, right? And at the beginning, right, when I got turned down, it was like crushing, right? And you probably remember this, right? It was like personal and
Why?
yeah,
What
like
did I do wrong?
what did I do wrong, right? The truth is, it's none of those things, right? It's not about me, but what I had to come to is, you know what? I won't say I don't care. Of course, I want to get a sale, but what I'm really after is I want to build a relationship.
Yeah.
If I make a new friend, that's a win.
Sure.
And maybe I never ever make a buck off of that relationship directly.
Yeah.
But you know what? Maybe we can help each other. And I've begun to experience this now, starting my 4th year, where I help other associates that I've never directly done business with, but I have helped their companies find business. They've, in turn, connected me with people who may turn into business people, clients. So yeah.
Your network is the most important thing.
100%.
Could not agree more. I wouldn't be anywhere without the relationships I've built. And it wasn't like forced building, it wasn't like, well, I better befriend this person so I can use them later in life. It's just, it turns out all through life, I need something. I need to connect somebody who needs help with this. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. And these people come in and out of your life, back into your life. And it's so important. And the other thing, which now I remember what I was going to say earlier, which applies, is I always tell people not only build relationships, that's important, build your network.
Yep.
But get rid of preconceived notions. That was the biggest realization I had over the last few years. Is I used to have this whole plan in my head of how things were going to work out or what I was going to do. And even if those things end up happening, I guarantee you it's not going to happen in the exact way you thought it was. It's just, you got to get rid of preconceived notions because you just set yourself up for disappointment. If I lined up 5 celebrities or anybody that I looked up to in the same industry, all 5 people got there a different way,
Great point, right? And a lot of what I do in development work with people is typically a goal achievement and goal planning process. And we talk about, make plans, but you can't plan the outcome.
Right.
Right? It's very specific and a very useful way to set goals, right? But you don't predict the outcome.
Right.
Right? Because you're talking about expectations. I want to circle back to relationships, and at the end of the day, I actually had a potential client say to me, well, you've worked with this, and this kind of company. How's that relate to ours and what we do? And I looked him in the eye and I was like, doesn't matter what you do. And frankly, I don't want to be rude, but I really don't care what you do. Because business is about one thing. And they're kind of looking at me like, what's that? It's about relationships. I don't care if you're an ambulance company or you're a metal heat treating company or you're a millwork company or you're air conditioning. None of that matters, right? Because at the end of the day, to be successful, it is about building relationships.
100%.
Right? Whether on an individual personal basis
Or business.
It's funny because I'm going to tell you the last 3 jobs I had, I never technically applied for, working for somebody else. Like literally, somebody called me and said, hey, such and such a company is looking for this role. Are you interested? Okay, I'll talk. And, one conversation led to another. And it led to an in-person interview or 2 or 3. And then next thing I know, they offered me a job. So technically, I never applied,
That's exactly.
That's the relationship.
Matt and I are living proof of that.
Right.
Matt and I met when we grew up in basically the same area.
Right.
We had mutual friends,
right.
So we would hang out in other social gatherings, and we stayed connected over the years. And I followed him, supported him, always believed in what he was doing.
Right.
And when he had posted about this new gig, I wrote him and said, I'm so interested. And he said, buddy, I was literally picturing you, but I didn't think you were available, which meant the world to me and still does.
Yeah.
But that would have never happened. And
if you didn't have the relationship. Yeah.
You just don't know. And it's not about, you don't build these I want to reiterate, you don't build these relationships so that you get a break later in life.
No.
That's not what it's about.
Yeah. It's not about what's in it for me. No, because the other thing that we talk a lot about is true relationships, right, are based on a level of understanding that requires empathy.
Yeah.
Right? And empathy is totally different than sympathy. Empathy is making the effort to not only understand how somebody else feels, but why they feel that way without judgment, pro or con. I may totally disagree with how you feel and why you feel that way, but I am willing and able to make the effort to understand that.
Yeah.
Right? That's a level of because guess what? Isn't that at the core of what every human being wants from their relationships?
Of course.
We all want to be understood.
Sure.
Where we are, not where you expect me to be.
That's right.
Right? And so empathy, and that goes to EQ, emotional intelligence. And guess what? Some people develop that naturally through life experiences, some at relatively early ages, which is kind of unique, but those people, and I've come across a lot of them. But you can also learn that and develop those things, right? And most people, when they hear that, go, really? You can develop all the aspects of emotional intelligence if you are willing to, you have a desire to, and you're able and willing to practice the discipline to do that.
Absolutely. Mark, we could go on about this forever. We
Yeah.
gotta let you enjoy this fair
For
here
sure.
today.
I got to get me some food, man. It's smelling good.
Before we go, let's one more time. Let's just talk about this. Your event, February 10th, 9 a.m. at TDO, right in Liverpool, literally right off the thruway exit. You drive right in the parking lot.
Correct.
If you take that one there for
Correct.
Electronics Parkway. Great event. It's going to be hosted by yourself and Joanne.
Yarrow.
Incredible value, I feel like, for what you're offering in a workshop.
Yeah, it's,
like I said, typically these things are 3 times what you folks are trying to charge for this, and I'm excited.
yeah, so are we. We're really excited. And Joanne, like you, is somebody that she and I just have a great connection, which is interesting because it's left brain, right brain, and we think very differently. But she is passionate about this like I am, and very passionate about helping other people. So yeah,
That's awesome.
come one, come all. It is a very affordable. Call me, reach out to me through the website, or you can contact Joanne.
What's the website, Mark?
Website is www.operationsexcellence.com.
Awesome.
And that is Operations Excellence. The E is dropped in excellence, only because that domain name was already taken.
Leave off the last S for savings.
There you go.
Mark, it's been great, buddy.
Thank you, partner.
you
Always
for
a pleasure.
everything.
My friend,
You know I love you, man.
thank you, man. I love you
for
too.
having back many other times again. So,
All right.
guys, we will have more from the Syracuse Winter Fair coming up next.